So, why do you keep attracting men who are physically abusive? And the number one reason is because you did not allow yourself to initially heal from the first abusive relationship. A lot of that comes from being in a relationship. Like when you in a relationship, of abusive relationship, and if it's physical, whether it's physical, verbal, financially, sexually, um him using other people against you, turning people against you, whatever it is, right? This is like a routine or something that you have become accustomed to. And it's like if you with someone for like even a year, even a few months, and they constantly telling you you ain't shit, you worthless, just saying negative, derogatory language directed towards you, which made you in turn feel some type of way about yourself. You know what I'm saying? But because you leave a situation doesn't mean that you're not carrying it with you. Because at the end of the day, you know how when people say, oh, well, when you lay down that night by yourself, it's just you and your thoughts. And some of our thoughts, majority of our thoughts are memories. You understand what I'm saying? Memories. We have memories. And if you holding on to those memories, and then also your internal dialogue, like what you say to yourself, or like if you haven't addressed those issues, but instead of addressing those issues, you decided to just replace that hurt, that pain, that emotional distress, and all that stuff with somebody else. Just not to be able to deal with it, to deal with the pain, to come to, because it's like, yes, like, the ultimate goal is, like I always advocate, meaning like, yo, if you in an abusive relationship, you find the strength to leave, you get support, whether you financially doing it on your own or you have to go to like, a shelter, whatever you do, like if you have to go to a family member's house, like you doing what you need to do to make sure you're safe. And that's good. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I commend all women, men, like, there's, because it's not always us, men too. But I specifically put this video towards women, right? So that's what I'm going to focus on right now. You guys. So that's the hurdle, like jumping over it, like getting over the, just starting over. But when you leave the situation and you don't deal with those issues, write out everything that you've gone through, like really deeply understand it and break down what it is that you've gone through, because I don't think people realize how traumatic it is to be in an abusive relationship, even if it wasn't physical and someone verbally, spoke to you like that. That breaks down your spirit, that breaks down your esteem, you know what I'm saying? That makes you start to question yourself, because it's like you have yourself that, before any abusive relationship, you know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, although you may never be that person that you was prior to being in a relationship, you know what I'm saying? But after being in a relationship, you could be an even more powerful woman. You know what I'm saying? You could kind of like find yourself, but at the same time create yourself. It's like all in one, you know. And um, I'm honest. Like I've been in a domestic violence relationship for many years, many years. Like I consider myself a survivor. Like it's been many on top of that years that I have not, you know what I'm saying, like been in an abusive relationship, because I'm able to identify certain things and I worked on myself. You know what I'm saying? But when you decide to go in a relationship and not really deal with yourself and deal with those, because it's like once you deal with it and really, like, you know, get to the root of everything, break everything down, then you start, like, you know, being able to identify those um like those traits in abusive men. Like you'll be able, because it's like when you first meet a guy and you're not really paying attention to the fact that, okay, well, he was trying to like tell me what to order on the menu, or he was telling me, oh, I had to be here at this specific time, or we had to go out on this particular day, or, you know, like little shit that you could kind of like pick up, like, okay, well, he seems a little bit controlling, like, you know what I'm saying? But because you trying to like cover up the pain and shit, it's like you kind of like really um not looking at those little signs and warnings that could kind of like prevent you from being in an abusive relationship, another abusive relationship. And that's what you definitely have to do. You have to start like healing. You don't want to jump into one relationship to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. Be in a relationship with yourself. Look in the mirror and say, you know what? It's it's good to meet you. I want to get to know you. You know what I'm saying? Of course we know it's more work that goes into it. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, leaving a domestic relationship is like, yes, that's the best thing. You know what I'm saying? Stay away, safety. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to kind of like revert back to that same person. But if you are not, you know, kind of like working on yourself to kind of get that out of you, that's, you know, become a magnet for these men. You know what I'm saying? I understand, you know, I'm going to get like, you know, some flag or whatever, because it's like people going to be like, oh, well, you trying to blame the victim. No, that's not what this is. Not blaming the victim. Like, oh yeah, how can you cause a man to put their hands on a woman? Because, you know, people read stuff differently. But where I'm coming from with this situations, in terms of like working on your inner self, so that you can identify these warning signs, these red flags. You feel what I'm saying? That's like, okay, we have that could potentially be a big issue. Like I always say, like, oh, okay, you know, if you meet someone and they want to like dominate your time, even when you have like other stuff going on, like you got school, you got work, you got like all these things going on, but they want to like take up all your time. You know what I'm saying? And when you think about it, if you coming from a place of you don't want to be alone, and because you dealing with these feelings, and let me not say you don't want to be alone, but you dealing with these feelings of pain, hurt, abandonment. And I'm saying abandonment is because people, we can be emotional. We are very, very emotional. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, in when you're not in a relationship with someone that you thought you could have spent your life with or whatever like that, but they ended up being abusive, and it's like you gotta let that person go. And it's like someone, you know what I'm saying, a part of that idea of you being with this particular person for the rest of your life, like that shit is gone. And it's like you got to deal with like that pain that follows that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, oh, you in that thought process. But at the end of the day, that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you could always replace one idea with the next idea, right? That could benefit you. But some people be stuck in that mindset of feeling like, oh, I wanted my life to be this one particular way, and it's effed up. Now I feel like this pain and whatever like that. And then this other abusive man come along, spending up, just taking up all your time, and you just seeing it like, oh, okay, well this might be the one or whatever. Like, oh, he does all this sweet stuff for me or whatever like that. Just doing all this love bombing, doing all that, but having an agenda with it. You feel what I'm saying? And it's like when a relationship just goes so fast, and on your end, you just trying to alleviate the pain from your mind, or in terms of distracting yourself from it, to the point that you just push it in the back and never deal with it. But it will come up again. You know what I'm saying? And it'll manifest in another abusive relationship. And that's just what it is. Like, I've experienced that. That's why I'm able to talk about it. It's like I'm at a place in my life where it's like I could see that shit from a mile away. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I could really identify I was going to say something very, very, I had to think about that for a minute, because I had to think about my word choice. I had to think about my word choice for a minute. But ladies, yo, we got to get this together. We got to get it on point, because I just feel as though like, yo, deal with your pain, deal with it, with it. You know what I'm saying? Don't be that woman who been out of a abusive relationship for 3 years to only get back in a DV relationship. No, work on yourself. You know what I'm saying? You've been safe for years. And even those women who just got out of a abusive relationship, you feel what I'm saying? Like maybe you just been away from this person a day, a week, a month. You know what I'm saying? You could be alone right now in a shelter. Like, real talk. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like some people, when you leave a relationship and you leaving everything behind and you starting all over. I know some women who went to other states, with no money, going into the shelter or living with family members just to make sure that they good. But you want to make sure that, you know, that mentally that you are able to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Get, like, you know how Ayana fixed my life. You know how she be like bringing everything to the forefront. Like bring it all up. Like for real, for real. You gotta deal with that. You don't want to be like, come on. Like, I know some women who in their 50s, in their 60s, who's just now leaving a relationship, and you know what I'm saying? It like, if you could see a situation, if you could leave an abusive relationship and work on yourself, I don't give a